Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the comedy extravaganza that is The Adventures of E. Strap yourselves in because in this podcast we dive into hilarious personal stories, mishaps, and everyday life. From the awkward encounters at the grocery store to trying to adult in a world that seems determined to trip us up at every turn. So whether you're listening during your commute or just kicking back with a cup of coffee, get ready to laugh until your sides hurt. Here's your host, Elissa.
Hey everybody, it's Elissa and Jason back for another episode.
Hey!
Thank you guys for listening last week and this week, and we wanted to say we love all the feedback we've been receiving, so keep it coming along with reviews. We love to read them. We've laughed our asses off reading them.
Yes, very funny so far.
As always, we have crazy things to talk about, and make sure to follow us on all of our socials.
Follow us.
Yeah, apparently I'm Irish now. I don't know. Subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you decide to listen, because we think we're a pretty amazing deal here.
Yep. I mean, don't tell anybody, but we're like the number 2 show in the country. I mean, don't look it up, though.
Okay, that's fake news. Anyways, moving right along.
Yeah, moving along.
So anyway, we wanted to start with some current events.
Yes, some very ridiculous current events that, as we all know, my wife tends to get into on the regular.
Yes. So current event number 1 happened last week, you guys. It happened. I had my bridesmaids moment, not the one I always dreamed about, but it was happening. So I go into the Dollar General, which is probably the sketchiest one around us, has to have been, and I all of a sudden have to pee.
Okay, we need to elaborate, like how sketchy, like
next to the creepy bingo hall sketchy.
Okay.
And there was like me and maybe one other person in there.
Okay, all right, but did they have like regular Lays, or did they have the Takis?
I think they had both. I didn't go that far because I couldn't make it that far.
All right, fair enough.
So I wanted to finish the project. I went in to get the one thing that I thought I needed. Mm-hmm. And it happened, like, I had to pee. And I mean, like, it wasn't like I had to go and I've been putting it off. Like, out of nowhere, I have to pee so bad that I'm curtsying in the middle of an aisle for what felt like at least a solid 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, if this doesn't look weird, I don't know what fucking does. So usually I can pull myself together and, like, the urge goes away and I'm good and I could have made it home. Of course, not today. Not that day, I guess. So after I'm curtsying for 5+ minutes, I go to stand up, and ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Those like few little pee dribbles, they dribbled, and I have leggings on, and I'm standing there, and I've pissed myself, and all I could think was, it's happening. And so I go up to the front to pay for my one thing that I really didn't need, but I thought I did, and the poor gentleman in front of me does not speak very much English. And I'm just like, what is happening? I just want to check out. I just want to go. And then that's when they whip out change to pay for the toilet paper. And I was like...
How ironic that they're buying toilet paper.
I didn't think about that.
Like, that's the universe right there, just smacking you in the face, you know?
That was karma.
Yeah.
And I was its bitch.
Yeah, you got smacked real hard.
Like, I almost paid for their toilet paper. Like, that's how serious this situation was.
You were just like, listen, assholes, I gotta go.
So finally they pay. I get up there, I pay. And I'm like, it is what it is. So I Snapchat a bunch of my friends, because I'm an idiot like that, about me peeing myself in Dollar General. And so anyway, that was current event number 1.
Sounds like a good time.
It was sketchy.
Yeah, I remember you called me, and I wasn't sure if you were laughing or crying or both simultaneously.
I was definitely laughing because, you know, at our age,
I know we're getting.
I sneeze and I pee myself. Like, you know, we're at that age, but like that was full blown. Like I couldn't pull it together, and oh my god, what if this happens again?
Like I'm scared to get older.
I am too, man. It
like,
sucks.
What is the age where we have to start fucking wearing diapers? Like, what is that?
I mean,
when does that check mark go off?
For me, it's clearly rapidly approaching, or it already has, and I'm in denial. But I don't care.
I mean, you have enough pairs of leggings. I mean, look at your 3 closets.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that was current event number 1. Current event number 2 actually happened to me today.
Yes. And folks, I also got a nice FaceTime call after this event happened, but I'll let my lovely wife elaborate.
First of all, I don't want to hear it. Nobody needs to be coming at me with, you should have got the step stool. I know. I know I should have gotten the step stool. But listen, my ADHD brain did not work like this. This is how it went. This is the conversation in my head. I should go get the step stool, but I'm not going to, because as soon as I'm done with this project, I'm going directly upstairs where said step stool is to finish another project up there. So what did I do? I go in our bourbon cigar lounge room and I get one of a bar height chair.
Yeah, it's a X frame. It's like a, skinny metal legs, wood seat.
Base, yeah. And then like 2 slats on the back, right? I take it over to the window because you guys don't need to judge me, okay? I had to steam my peach curtains. They actually are curtains with tiny peaches on them.
Which you know what? You actually made.
I handmade. I stitched them because I'm a 100-year-old granny.
Which are right across from what?
My Golden Girls wall.
We have a Golden Girls shrine wall.
We do, but it's tastefully and funny done.
Because all things Golden Girls are tasteful and funny.
Well, not all things, but it's Golden Girls with Gucci on. So boom, bitches.
Touche.
So I already know. Don't come at me with your bullshit. I should have went and got the step stool. I know it. Jason Michael, I already got the dad voice and the look, okay?
It's coming.
I didn't do it. I went and got the chair. I was just on my knees, which I realize how dirty that sounds, but I was on my knees trying to get the curtains down so I could steam them and change out the hardware. Don't ask again. So I get up there, I'm doing my thing, I get them down, no problem. I go to get them back up, I get back on the chair, and it happens. Ladies and gents, I fell and my fat ass snapped this chair, this iron metal chair, not in one, but 2 places.
Now, hey, let's give it some credit. Like, this is some pot metal. This is like some Chinese-made bullshit furniture that we threw in a spare room. So it's not like super heavy duty or anything.
No, we're not like
that.
super fancy like that, but I crumpled it like a fucking piece of paper, okay? And somehow, my chunky ass, my leg is through the back of the chair, and my vagina has hit the wooden edge, and you know what I mean, like the edge of the seat part.
So it parked itself in the garage.
I busted my cooter. I busted it. Like, I don't know how else to explain. Plus, the dog bowl is in my back, and I'm trying to not dig this chair into our LVP flooring, y'all. And if I kept my body weight off of it, it wasn't scratching it, and I'm yelling for my mom, Brenda, to come and help me. And let me tell you, this bitch was not swiftly to my aid.
Did she even hear you?
She heard me and yelled, "What do you need?" And I'm like, I'm hurt. I fucking need help. Like, we need to call a crane and get me out of this chair situation.
Like, this is a fucking life alert moment.
Like, plus I'm trying not to get my curtains dirty that I just fucking steamed. Like, it was a situation, right? So finally, I couldn't wait on Brenda any longer, and I had to push myself off the chair, and I busted the cooter, and I busted the floor, and I immediately FaceTimed Jason, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I broke the chair, and I'm sorry, I busted the floor up," and he's like, "It's no big deal," and I took drywall with me. I hit so hard, ladies and gents, that the window above me slammed shut.
You caught the window. And it slammed shut.
No, I think my butt hit the wall and it slammed it shut. That's because that's how I took that drywall out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, my ass hit the wall and slammed it shut.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you broke the cooch, but at least it's getting the wood from somewhere. So.
Oh, well, that's true. But I'm telling you what, I've never hurt so bad. Like, I busted out my cooter. I threw out my twat. Like, no, it was
twat down.
I've never. Oof. That was the worst feeling in the world.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, I mean, when you think of it differently from a male perspective, I mean, anytime a man has racked their nuts, I mean, clearly it's definitely not a pleasant experience by any means.
Yeah, this was not either. And for some reason, like, I literally did fall and hurt myself. Like, I legit hurt myself. I don't have a bruise on me. I'm at work, I run into a chair, and I look like fucking, I've been in the Thunderdome.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We've also noticed that your injuries show up after the fact.
That's true.
So, like, it'll be like the middle of the week. You've worked all weekend. It'll be the middle of the week, and you'll be like, holy shit, where the hell did this bruise come from?
I know, and then that one and that one.
Yeah, and I'm like, hell, did I beat you in my sleep? Damn. Like, I mean, it's just all over the place. And no, I don't beat her. But anyways, Jesus.
Let's be honest. I'd be the one beating you if anybody.
Probably.
No.
So.
Live that life. No, thank you. No, thank you. So.
But, yeah, so the interesting part with your recent events and, shenanigans, that also leads us into another topic that we wanted to talk about and how our relationship works as a couple.
Yes, because I do have a lot of people who, know me, but maybe don't know me that well. They're like, is that really how you two talk to each other? Is that really how, does he really have to keep you on a calendar or a schedule? And I'm like, yes, folks.
Yes, folks.
This is our real life.
We have calendars in our house. Yep.
It's terrible. It's so terrible. But I'm trying, and I'm trying to change my ADHD ways. And honestly, he has been amazing with all of my weird things that have come along with it and being diagnosed and being medicated for it.
Well, thank you. But, the big thing that I've learned is it's not so much changing you, it's learning how to navigate your personal idiosyncrasies and just the little things of how you like to do things and how you've always done things and meshing them with our day-to-day life. Like how can we utilize how you are on certain things to benefit us as a couple as a whole?
Right.
It's not, you've got to change this. That's definitely not the concept we've put in place. It's very much how do we just navigate it?
Because I've always been like, this is who I am. Like,
right.
I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible, you know what I mean? And you've always been like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. And we've always just figured it out.
Well, and it's like when we first started dating. I mean, I told you flat out, like, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
but
you did.
If I care about you, you will be the only thing that matters to me, and I will not be an asshole to you.
Right.
But to everybody else, I'm an asshole for the most part.
Yeah. So
that's just part of my personality. That's just who I've grown to be. But, just like I have my what are perceived flaws, I'm not going to say that there are any perceived flaws with ADHD or anything along those lines, but it's a different type of like personality trait. That's how I view it.
Right. Which I remember. So I know we're getting way off topic here, but
rabbit hole.
ADHD rabbit hole.
Right.
I remember in the 90s, when ADHD really came out and Ritalin was a thing, and people were like, oh my God, they're just putting their kids on it because they just want to heavily medicate them. I remember thinking as I got older, I bet I have ADHD. I bet I do. Like, things just don't make sense. And then I finally got diagnosed and in the middle of nursing school, actually. Mm-hmm. And the first time do you remember the first time I took the med, I said, holy shit, is this how you guys feel all the time? Like,
yeah,
it's almost like I can pull file folders out. Before everything was jumbled up, it was easier. And I'm telling you what, my grades changed so much after that too. Yeah. It was crazy, the 360 I did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting, to see that kind of change. I mean, I am not one, me personally, and I, some people that know me know this, but not everybody knows this. Like, I don't necessarily feel like you need to medicate or need to do these things. Like, you can have different habit changes and things like that in your life, and you can do that on your own. But, truly to see the change that it made in you was impressive. I mean, it was crazy.
Literally night and day.
Yeah, to see that difference. And I was obviously okay with that, as long as it was healthy for you and, didn't cause any like ridiculous adverse side effects or anything like that. Sure. I mean, whatever you need to do, like, I support. Yeah, for sure.
Which, I mean, we're very open. I'm open about having ADHD and having now as it's coming out, all these videos with like stimming and all that, those things now make sense to me as to what they are.
People
and
bringing a lot more attention to it. Yeah.
And it's, mental health has become a huge thing where, when we were teenagers, that was a big no-no. And like you and I are very much, honest about our mental health and that we're medicated for it. Thank God, or we'd both be a hot mess.
Yeah, that's very possible.
I don't know that you could keep me in line anymore if we weren't both medicated.
I think we've been at it long enough that I think we'd be all right.
We could figure it out.
Yeah, we figured out quite a few things over the years. I'm sure we could figure that out.
Yeah, that'd be like the least of our issues.
Right.
So I just think it's crazy how they're seeing more and more women getting diagnosed later on in life, and the things like that we've lived through are very much all the same. Like, oddly, the stories are very similar. Why do you? I obviously haven't done any research on this, so I'm kind of a dumbass when it comes to this, but trying to understand, like, what do you feel, or what have you seen is prompting more of a female weighted diagnosis rate? I don't necessarily think it's a female weighted, but I will say, like, the things I have read, because ADHD looks so different in women versus men, where we're not so much the outburst. I mean, I have outbursts, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have social Tourette's every once in a while.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? We don't necessarily have the outburst, and we don't have the hyper, like, activity necessarily. Ours can be we're very tired and sleepy, which I've always told you I'm the sleepiest girl in the entire world.
Sleepiest girl in the world.
And that is not a lie, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're seeing like things like that be undiagnosed in women because it looks so much different than what they saw in men.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, makes sense to kind of break it down that way. Right.
Where I've always said I didn't know what I want to be when I grow up. And that's why I've done 50 million things, which we'll get into on another day. I think that's why. It's because I've wanted to live all these other lives too.
Right. It's not necessarily like a FOMO type thing. It's just like you get super invested into something and get excited about it, and then you burn out on it, and you're like, oh, I want to try something. Yeah,
I'm going to go try this. Woo!
Yeah, I want to do something completely different now.
So that's basically been my life, and I like it like that.
Well, thankfully, I've been a constant for close to 10 years.
I'm not like that with relationships, though. I'm really not.
So I got lucky. That was the one. That was the one thing.
That was the one thing you got lucky on, ladies and gents. The one thing.
Well, I don't know if it's lucky. I think it is, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, okay.
And it's not great. How about that?
All right. Okay.
No, hey, so that brings me to, I was going to ask you. I saw this question somewhere, and I thought, what a fun question. I want to ask Jason.
Oh, Lord.
If we won the lotto, if we did.
Okay.
Would you continue doing your job, or what would you do?
My current job now?
Yes.
I would say probably yes, just because I actually truly enjoy what I do, but I would do it with a little bit more mental freedom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Take more freedoms with it and be more open about it, you mean?
Potentially, or, take more of the mindset of like go 1,000% and don't hold anything back. And then if I, fuck up and failed, and okay, guess what? My ass is covered,
right.
So it takes a little bit of that, I don't know, maybe that fallback fear, just kind of out of it, because you have a net. Yeah, you have a safety net. You have something that is available to you at your disposal whenever you want it.
Right.
Now, if you would ask me about my previous job, no.
God,
no.
let's hope. Yeah.
No.
There's no way. We couldn't have made it through that.
No, the only way I would have stayed in that industry if we would have won enough in the lottery where I could have bought the company that I worked for. And owned it and changed it back to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would have stayed with it. But, what about you?
I think yes and no.
Okay.
I think I would stay in nursing, but I would want to do something like, and I honestly haven't done any research, so please don't come for me, but like the whole Nursing Without Borders and doing that kind of thing, more of the philanthropic type of work, but still being useful somewhere.
Right.
I think that would, and being able to travel, which I love to do and I want to do more of.
Imagine helping people in like, so many different places, all times of the year. Like,
right. And not necessarily worrying about needing a paycheck.
Right.
And I would be a stand-up comedian.
Well, yeah.
Because it really wouldn't matter if I failed or not. I'm still, like, rolling in the dough.
Yeah. So what you're saying is we would still continue to do the podcast?
Oh, for sure.
Fuck yeah.
Maybe I could just buy us more followers.
You know, we could pay for advertising.
We could, but we're cheap, and we're not doing that because I have a shopping problem.
Yeah, we have to support the shopping problem.
The sleeping shopping problem.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We will elaborate more. Feel free to email us and ask us questions about that one.
Or don't, because I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I would love to see the questions that come up and arise from just that little snippet right there.
But speaking of traveling, we were recently talking about me living in Australia and about my experiences there and if I would ever go back. And I said, absolutely, I would 1,000% live there if I could.
Right. So you are the world traveler, like live
Not
in
really.
Mexico,
Just
live in Australia.
Mexico and Australia. Like, that's it. I wish there was more, but there's not. But
My ass has lived in Indiana and Iowa.
and Indiana.
And then Indiana.
Yeah, that's fair.
It.
But no, so we were talking about this the other day about you didn't necessarily know about my koala incident.
Yeah, I knew that you had an experience with a koala, but
so I got to start off the whole story with this, folks. I fly from Indianapolis to LAX for my next layover. And it's me and a friend of mine that are going to Australia. And we see two people. And I'm like, hey, I literally yell, hey, I know you from somewhere. Oh my gosh. So I couldn't figure it out. I truly couldn't figure it out. And finally did. It was Usher and Chili from TLC, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly she was on the same plane. Well, she was. And this is why I know.
Up in first class, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was definitely not in first class. But
yeah.
It was my birthday or somewhere along that way. Anyway, I need to find the letter. The flight attendant got her to write me a note.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she signed it and everything. And it said happy birthday on it. So I don't remember. Anyway, I'll have to find it. But anyway, that's beside the point. So we get to Australia and we move around. Like, we started in Sydney. We went to the Opera House. We did all that fun stuff. Went to the Great Barrier Reef. We snorkeled. Surprisingly, I didn't get stung by a stingray or die.
That's good.
Right.
And I can go to Gulf Shores and get stung by a fucking jellyfish just, standing in 3 foot of water.
I know. That's terrible.
Some bullshit.
That's funny, though, because usually the animal things obviously always happen to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go to Cairns, the rainforest, and you can hold a koala bear. And you know how I am about animals. Any animals.
Oh,
I
yeah.
freaking love animals.
Oh, it's fluffy and cute.
And the fluffier, the better, the more I love. And I turn into Elmira, where she's like, I want to love and hug you and squeeze you and call you George.
Yep.
That's me. But listen, I was second to the last. And you got to hold the koala bear. And you got a picture taken. And this is back before, like, camera cell phones or anything like that.
Oh, you're really dating yourself, honey.
I'm just being honest. So I don't have the picture anymore, and this is why, because I've moved so many times, and it's a real picture. It's not digital out there somewhere.
Right.
So I'm the second to the last person. You're supposed to hold the koala bear. And next thing I know, this fucking koala bear bites me.
Like, bites you.
Like, mouth comes down and it's between my index finger and my thumb, and I mean, it has got a hold of me and it's not letting go.
So he was a little pissed off bastard.
Apparently. And I'm panicking, and I've got like 3 or 4 zoo employees coming at me going, don't panic. I'm like, oh fucking okay. All right.
A koala bear attached to my hand.
They have to start singing to it. What they were singing, I have no fucking clue, because all I'm thinking is get it off, get it off, get it off, get it off, right?
Right.
To make it unclench its jaw.
They sang to it.
Somebody asked me the other day at work, well, what were they singing? I don't fucking know.
That's crazy. Like, I was just reading the other day, just random koala bear facts. And I don't know if this is true. Do not quote me. Feel free to look it up and tell me otherwise. But their shit smells like cough drops.
No way.
That I read it somewhere. It's on the internet, so it must be true.
Well, I also read on the internet, like 90% of koala bears have herpes too.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I also didn't like really dig into it. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a koala bear wet?
I have. I've seen photos of
It
one.
is the things that nightmares are literally made of.
It's straight
okay?
nightmare fuel, for sure.
So anyway, this motherfucker's clamped onto me. They're singing to it. They finally get it off me. The picture they turn around and hand me is literally when it all happens.
Like, as he's going to bite your hand?
Yes, and my face is like, that's what they hand me. And
That's
if that
awesome.
ain't a souvenir, I don't know what is.
Yeah. We'll have to dig for that. See if we can find it.
I know I don't have it. I know I lost it somewhere between my divorce, if we're being honest. But the ex did give me my video camera, which is all Australia footage.
Oh, and I do know where that is.
Yeah, because I rode a hot air balloon. I had gotten kicked by a kangaroo.
Right.
A couple of days later. Then we went and met the Aborigines people, they were so cool. And usually
they seem like they would be a cool people for an indigenous people.
They are, but usually you can't get your picture taken with them because they believe that the picture takes a piece of their soul.
Right.
Much like the Native Americans, I believe.
I believe so.
And but they were so cool. They were carving didgeridoos. They let us join in. So nice.
Damn.
Yeah, and so we ride camels back.
Gotcha.
And so my friend's behind me, and we're riding, no joke, Harry and Sally. The camel behind me keeps trying to eat my pant leg. And I accidentally...
No, wait. Were you actually wearing pants there? I mean,
Yes.
It's fucking Australia. It's
Yes.
120 degrees there.
Well, you're in the desert. You want to wear pants.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm
true.
riding an animal. I'm wearing jeans.
All right. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I had hiking boots on, because I'm weird about
Just being prepared.
Scorpions or anything
Yeah.
getting in my shoe. You know how I am about my shoes.
Yep, I got it.
So anyway, it kept trying to eat my pant leg. Grabbing onto my pant leg. Well, I was trying to nicely, gently get it off of me and end up kicking my camel, and my camel bucked and went running, and it was just a hot fucking mess.
Just a hot mess. So you have a little bit of a struggle bus with animals, it sounds like.
In Australia, I do.
Yeah.
I haven't anywhere else.
No, because all the ones here, like gophers and shit like that.
That's not my fault.
I know. I've been the one to have the issues.
Yeah,
with
I'm
that.
that's not my fault.
Well, speaking of, some additional animal issues. So we have a slightly special Frenchie that we've talked about before.
Special doesn't even cover it.
Yeah, he is the demon potato, Mac.
He is.
With his cleft lip and just his personality.
His shark teeth.
Yeah. He is personality for days, right? So we have started to realize that between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., this dog starts to have sundowners. And for those of you not aware of what sundowners is, I will let my wife explain.
Oh man, I'm the worst at explaining things.
Oh, you got this.
No, basically when somebody starts sundowning, they get confused.
Yep.
There's no other way.
So neurological issue.
Yeah. So this little demon potato is scared all of a sudden by 6 p.m. is scared of our dinner plates.
Yep. Or a bottle of water.
And tries to attack it and us.
Yep. Mostly it. If it's just in our hands, we get up from a chair. He could be sound asleep and he will wake up when you get up and he will just lunge and go crazy towards the plate. So
we figured out he sundowns about that time. And then about 2 hours later, Mom decides to usually sundown. And the two of them are best friends.
Yep.
Mac was supposed to be my dog. Somehow it ended up being Brenda's dog. But Mac and Brenda start sundowning together, and my God, it's the most fun time I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to just kind of see the bounce back and forth with, one I think is more senility based. The other one might be a neurological issue. We're not really sure.
Both of them could be.
It's just kind of a shit show and just kind of all over the place. We love them, dearly, obviously, but it's just kind of an interesting.
But Mac and Mom, they live their own life, man.
Yeah, it is true. It is Mac and Mom.
They're besties for the resty, and she'll be like, I can't stand this little shit. And then she'll be like, but I love him, and I'd be lost without him.
Yeah. She may say she hates the bastard,
But she doesn't.
Oh, no. It's that fun love-hate relationship, and it's hilarious most days.
It really is.
So, yeah, that's an ever evolving situation with Mac and Mom Sundowners, so we'll have to watch that more and talk more about that at some point.
Can't wait to have Mom on here, and she'll be like, "Nuh-uh, y'all are lying."
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We already know what's coming. Quote us now.
Okay.
Feel free to quote us now. It's coming. So, but hey, wanted to also say something. Obviously, everybody knows that the eclipse was on Monday, April 8th. We are in a place in Indiana where we were in a path of totality. That was a very, very cool experience.
Everybody but me knew it was Monday. I didn't know it was Monday until Sunday.
Yeah, like it just was like, oh, the eclipse is tomorrow? Oh, shit, okay.
I knew it was happening at some point, but I wasn't paying no attention.
Yeah. So the experience in and of itself and seeing the totality, I would say was very, very beautiful. It was very, very cool. Something that, you're obviously... most people aren't going to see more than once in their lifetime, if at all.
Right. It was cool. It didn't get as dark as I thought it was going to, but it was still extremely cool to watch.
Yeah, it's very, very neat. But one thing that Elis and I have talked about is, there are all kinds of people that, we've seen everything on social media and people freaking out and, oh my God, it's the end of times and like all these other things. And, we're a very just kind of go with the flow type of people. And, to see some of that it was really interesting. It was almost like a lot of people were scared. A lot of people were excited. It was just kind of all over the place.
I was actually talking about it at work the other day when I realized it was Monday. And I said, I almost feel like, do you remember Y2K? How everybody was like, oh my God, the computers are going to freak out.
World's going to explode. Yeah.
It almost felt very much like that.
Yeah.
And it was a very weird, eerie feeling on Sunday leading into Monday.
Yeah. Like, oddly enough, they talked about, millions of people coming to where we live at and traveling in, and the roads are going to be horrible. And I'll tell you what, I drove to work Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely still silent. There was no traffic. I don't like that. There was no nothing. It was like the weirdest vibe I've ever had, driving to work or anything like that. Because my commute is pretty much through country roads and, staying away from highways because, road rage and I hate people. But anyways, but it was just usually you come across people, you'll, have to pass somebody on a back country road or something like that. Absolutely nobody.
I know a ton of the doctor's offices were going to close too, and to let their people stay at home. It just was very shocking to me how big it was, which, by the way, this was really funny. I guess there was a story out there that William Shatner was in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
For the eclipse. He was actually watching it from Bloomingdale's, not Bloomington.
Bloomingdale. Okay. Somebody really got that press release wrong.
Well, but, it's close. In all fairness, it's close.
Close, but no cigar, folks.
Yeah, no shit. No Shatner. No Shatner here.
Nope. So, but it was just, it was an interesting experience. It was definitely a cool experience. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the hype and the freakouts and all this other stuff, it was just kind of, I don't know if it was unwarranted. But one other thing I'm going to say, like schools, almost all the schools around where we live had a freaking e-learning day. They shut the schools down. Like when I was a kid, I was through, I think it was almost a full path of totality eclipse when I was a kid, like just barely off. And I can remember our science class, we made paper plates with the little pinholes and the viewer holes and all this other stuff. And we went out at recess, stared up at the sun in like fourth grade and put these paper plates over our face and looked through them to see this. And it's like we went to school. Like I don't know, like the whole e-learning thing.
I feel like when we went to school, like school made it a whole learning thing. Just like back in the 70s with the Challenger and, was that the one that exploded?
Yeah, that was late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, like the whole, how all the schools had the TVs for the kids to watch. Like when we went to school, we made those vision viewer things out of cereal boxes. Like they made a whole thing out of it. So it blew my mind a little bit about the e-learning day, but also at the same time, I'm like, post-COVID times are weird, y'all.
Yeah, no, people are fucking stupid. I mean, just absolutely stupid, and will do dumb shit for absolutely nothing.
For no reason at
Yeah,
all.
for
People
no
were
reason.
selling those eclipse glasses on eBay for like $50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just give it to somebody?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, and, you know, where I work at, we actually had some made as promotional items that we gave out at some of the events and stuff like that. And the neat thing is, I guess there's going to be another eclipse in South America. I think next year or something like that, or in a couple of years. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have all the details on it. But they are requesting, you know, any leftovers glasses, please send to them because they don't have the funds to do those types of things. So everything we have in excess, we're actually donating to one of the schools locally, and we're going to take all that stuff and they're going to ship that stuff off to those schools down there, which is pretty
really
cool.
cool that they're going to do that.
So our name is going to get out there in a third world country. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome that they did that, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so we talked about Mac and Mom and the ridiculousness there and all of your debauchery when it comes to animals in Australia and all of your traveling abroad.
All my traveling, 2 places, y'all. 2 places.
Hey, you know what? That's a hell of a lot more than me, but we're going to change that. We're, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll do like a remote podcast from like the UK at some point in time. How cool would that be?
Okay, well, let's
I'm just saying, how cool would that be?
Let's just slow it down there.
You know. Anyways.
Simmer down, hot sauce.
So what do you think of our experience so far?
Like with the podcast?
Yeah, with the podcast and going through it and just trying to get a feel for it.
I've had a lot of people like at work and stuff because it's really the only place I interact with a lot of people anymore these days. Post-COVID. Like I said, it's weird. But a lot of them who have listened or are listening or are going to, everybody's been extremely supportive. Like, it's been crazy. And they're like, is it so much fun? And I'm like, it is. It's the weirdest thing. Like, it's so cathartic in a way to talk to people, but you're not talking to a bunch of people, if that makes any sense at all.
Right. It breaks down that wall, that inhibition, and just kind of, you know, we can treat it as if it's just you and me talking, which is pretty cool, or you, me, and, you know, another person talking. It's not, you know, like a big forum where you're in front of, you know, 10,000 people.
Right. And they'll come up and they'll like laugh at me and they're like, I didn't know your husband's voice sounded like that. I don't know what I expected. And so just little things like that. And like I said, people from high school, people from elementary school, they're like, oh my God, my mom and I are listening. We've died. Like, this is so funny. I'm so glad you're finally telling like the stories of your life, because believe it or not, folks, this has been my entire life. This just isn't new.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was a kid, I got myself in the worst situations, and it's just, you know, come with me through adulthood. Yeah,
it's carried on, and, you know, I've joined in on almost the last 10 years of the party, and it's been a fun and exciting ride.
Right.
So, and I think, you know, I think the things that I've noticed, especially with you, is like you're in a way kind of coming a little bit out of your shell and just kind of opening some things up and talking about some things, and you seem to feel better, you know, after doing a podcast or recording or, you know, getting engaged with it. You seem to, it puts you in a much more positive place sometimes, if that makes sense.
Therapy to a certain extent for me because of I don't want to say because of my ADHD, but I love to make people laugh. I don't know if we had this conversation on air or if it was when we were just checking levels. I think it was me, you, and Jeremiah were talking, like, I'm not good at any one thing. I'm really not. Like, there's not one thing I'm good at. And I love to make people laugh, whether that is a joke or a dumb joke or an off-color joke or whatever. I love to make people laugh. And a lot of times my life, and like I said, the situations I inadvertently get myself into are funny.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, maybe this sounds so dumb, but maybe, you know, a new mom who just stumbles across this and hears about, hey, I'm 38 years old and I just pissed myself in the DG.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that'll make her laugh and make her feel better. I know that sounds dumb, but to me, that is therapy to me.
Yeah, no, there's a level of that kinship to know that there may be one other person out there.
There's like, so there's this video on TikTok where she goes, say the weird thing. People are just desperate to hear, realness. And I wanted to stitch it, but I'm terrible, honest to God. Ask Jason with technology of any sort. I have become my grandmother. But I want to be like, when she's like, say the weird thing, I want to be like, I do every Tuesday night when I, record my podcast with my wonderful husband. Like, I say all the fucking weird things.
All the weird things.
That happen. And actually, I jokingly told a patient this weekend at work, she was talking about peeing all night long and it's embarrassing to pee yourself. And I said, well, honey, I did that today at the Dollar General. And she looked at me and she said, oh my goodness. And she goes, well, that's so embarrassing. And I said, well, I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah.
Like it was what it was and it happened and I moved on. And she goes, you have such a sunny disposition about life. And I'm just like, oh, honey, if only you knew I'm really dead inside. But that made me giggle. Like, my pain was somebody else's gain. Like, we can make light of the situation. It sucks. It sucks. And nobody wants to be doing this. And nobody wants to pee on themselves. And nobody wants to get bit by a koala.
Or fall off a chair when they could have used a stool.
Oh, God. I'm paying for it. I'm telling you what. I'm about to cut this short because I got to go ice my back. I got a bath of BioFreeze calling my name and an ice pack, y'all. This is the age. It's weird to be the same age as old people.
Same age as old people, yeah. No, but yeah, as far as connecting with people, it's interesting because, you may have that one person out there that, wouldn't normally connect or they think they're kind of by themselves with a certain experience or, like, hey, maybe somebody else has gotten bitten by a koala bear.
Right.
And they've never told anybody or it's never been like a story that's come to light. But then they're like, oh, well, somebody else has had that happen, so maybe it's not that big of a deal.
Somebody else
maybe it's
accidentally breaks into Kohl's. Like, they're like, hey, I'm not alone. There's a club of us.
I'll tell you, if anybody knows of anybody that accidentally breaks into a store, it doesn't have to be Kohl's.
Don't do it
No. Don't do it on purpose. But if anybody knows of somebody that has accidentally done that, please, for the love of all that is holy, let us know because we want to know.
Because I don't think I ever told you this.
What?
My first day at the Greenwood Park Mall, I accidentally broke into JCPenney. But listen, this is...
Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm serious. Listen, I just thought of this.
All these years and I'm just...
Like core memory unlocked. Listen to this. So I was working for a retail store in a mall in Greenwood. It doesn't matter now.
Yeah.
I don't work there. It's been years ago.
Yeah.
They said, come in the door by JCPenney's because I was coming in for training on opening.
Right.
Apparently... I went into the door, obviously, of JCPenney's, and I couldn't get out into the mall because the chain link thing was locked.
Yeah, which rightfully so if you're going into the store for training.
Right,
yeah.
and I'm standing there, and I'm like, oh, well, how do I get out of here? I literally get caught, snatched by a security guard. He was actually very nice and was like, can I help you? And I go, I'm sorry, it's my first day at such and such store. They told us to come in these doors, and I think I came in the wrong ones. He took me to an office. In this, stark white office with a desk. I sat there for 15 minutes. And if anybody who knows me knows, I'm a lot of things, but late is not one of them.
Right.
And I start panicking because I'm supposed to be there in 15 minutes. And if you're not, 10 minutes early, you're late to me.
Yep.
So I start panicking. I sneak out of the office, around the corner for the security guard, book it out the doors that I came in, and found the actual mall doors.
Now the question is, did you see the security guard again?
I never saw him again.
Never saw him again?
Never saw him again, and I thought I'm going to get questioned because, I'm sure I'm on some sort of CCC video.
On him, yeah.
Right. I had nothing to hide, but I was going to be late for work, and that was my first day, and that's a bad impression.
Yep.
And so, I fully expected to be talked to. Never did. So JCPenney, your security guards back in, 2005 were doing a bang-up job.
Well, but I'll tell you right now, the fact that their store was closed and they had doors open, that's their own damn fault.
Well, they were probably letting their own employees in for opening, and not everybody has a store key if you've ever worked in retail.
Oh, no. Yeah, I personally have. No, I get it. But here's my question. When you walked in, did you see another employee anywhere?
I didn't see anybody.
So then who the hell was watching the door?
I don't know. Apparently the security guard, because he snatched me up.
But he wasn't even doing that good of a job.
No, clearly not.
Jesus. I love finding out new stories.
I just completely forgot about that.
I love it. Like that's another beautiful thing about this podcast is like, as you talk about these things, I guarantee like there's going to be things that I remember that are like, oh shit, you know,
like the super soakers. Like who would have thought of that?
Right. Yeah. You know, all those different types of things, like it'll come out, which is very cool. It's a very creative, interesting memory outlet. But another thing too is obviously we wanted to say thank you again to all of our friends and say that if you have some fun stories, if you want to share these things with us, if you potentially want to come on and talk with us and hang out with us and, you know, do those things and go over this stuff, I think it would be a blast to have some of our friends on, even some that, you know, don't live close to us. We can figure it out.
Absolutely. I think so too. I also like it when it's just us. And I've had a lot of people say that they like the mix up of having just you and I talking and then having a third party. So I do like that as well. So that's not going to stop either. But
yeah, I mean, we're just going to keep them guessing.
Yeah.
Never let them know your next move.
Well, I'm not that quick or that sly. Obviously, I busted a fucking chair today anyway. Yeah.
But the good thing is I can weld, so I'll fix it.
Anyway, I got to go take this biofreeze shower bath. I'm not joking.
So thanks again for listening, everybody. Don't forget to like and follow us on all of our socials. Please go to Facebook, search The Adventures of E. Check out all of our links to our other sites. We do even have an Instagram up now. It doesn't have many followers. That's okay. We'll grow over time. But yeah, I mean, we're on, you know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music. Thank you very much. That's pretty legit. I'm kind of excited about that one.
I was too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's a you made it kind of moment. Now everybody can do it.
I know,
but still, I feel
not everybody has.
Right.
Spreaker, exactly. Don't forget Spreaker.
Yeah, Spreaker. You can actually download their app and everything. That's where our hosting is at, which is pretty cool. And it's totally free, just like pretty much everybody else. And yeah, as always, we want to hear your feedback. Please leave us comments. Send us an email at venturesofe@gmail.com. And we want to hear your crazy stories, like we said. And you never know, might end up on the show. We might quote you, get some audio clips, and just have a good time. So thanks again for everybody joining this week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Mic drop.
We out.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Make sure to share and like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Adventures of E, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@Adventures of E. See you next time.